So the first thing that I wanted to do was just to highlight some brilliant organisations that are working locally on these issues and who will be on hand to help you with any ideas that you've got from this conference and making sure that you know exactly what you need to take them forward and help nature thrive in our parks. So the Bristol Natural History Consortium we've heard from already today, and they do fantastic work on monitoring, including the City Nature Challenge and BioBlitzes. Bristol Naturalist Society are fantastic in terms of being experts on IDing and tracking nature, so please do consider them. We've heard from Froglife today. If you're thinking about water or pond habitats in your park, they are your go-tos. There's also the Bristol Avon River Trust, who have a huge amount of experience and knowledge when it comes to riverside habitats. Again, we've heard from the Avon Wildlife Trust, and these are, of course, our brilliant Bath naturalists as well. Apologies. Yes, Henry, you're absolutely right. Avon Wildlife Trust are, of course, our local wildlife expert organisation, so please do consider them. And of course, us as the Bristol and Bath Parks Foundation. We are on hand, and we're all about making good happen in our parks, and that includes nature and biodiversity, as well as other things as well. But I think crucially, who maybe aren't already, local park groups are really the driving force behind a lot of the brilliant things that happen in our parks and green spaces. On the whole, if there's something special about your park, it is more than likely going to be that there's a Friends of group who's active in the area making that happen. So our Friends of groups, one, provide you with that kind of network and structure in which to make things happen and that additional resource and support. So if you're not a member of a park group, I would highly recommend joining one. If you are a member of a park group, there are a brilliant existing network across both of our cities of people who have been trying and testing these projects in other areas. We do not need to reinvent the wheel on a huge amount of what we've been speaking about today, and there will always be someone that you can learn from. In addition, if there's not a park group in your local area, the interest in parks is completely unprecedented, I would say, at the moment. Through everybody reconnecting with their parks through the pandemic, the time is ripe. It's now if we want to build new park groups, and if there isn't one in your local area, it's worth considering setting one up from scratch. So I want to talk a little bit more about the other offers of support that we have developed for Friends of groups and parks volunteers. First of all, we have 3 more online trainings coming up. They're not all day, they're short and sweet, 5 till 7 p.m. in the evenings. One of the key things to making any project on nature possible is having a little bit of cash to be able to buy what you need to. So one of those training sessions is on accessing grants. We've also got one on recruiting and retaining volunteers, and then on using social media to further your work. Now, I will share all the links to these in a follow-up email that will go around shortly. So do keep an eye out for those if they would be interesting. They have limited spaces, so I'd recommend getting booked soon. And many of you will have heard of the Love Your Park Community Fund. We are still raising cash for this and hope to be able to launch our first round of small grants later this year. And that will definitely be able to support nature projects in your parks, so keep an eye out for that. Finally, just before we wrap up, if there's anything else you can think of that it would be great for us or the councils or anyone to help you with, any burning issues or things that you think you need to move forward with this type of work, please pop those in the chat box so that we can capture them and make sure that we are answering your needs and supporting a thriving city and flourishing nature. Right, well, just to wrap up, again, if you found the day valuable and would like to support us to run more conferences like this and support you to get projects up and running in parks, please do donate to our Nature Fund. The link is in the chat box now. I'd also recommend going to our website, yourpark.org.uk, and registering to hear from us on email so that we can keep you in touch with everything that we're up to. And finally, just to say a huge thank you to all of our speakers who have joined us throughout the day. It's been fascinating to hear from real experts, but also to hear from the local examples from people who are doing this out in their parks already. I'd also like to say a huge thank you. Oh yes, and just to say we will be making all of the recordings of every session available online, and our speakers are going to be sharing their presentations as well. Thank you to Olivia, who has been throughout the day. She's done a fantastic job, and it's not just this, she's been involved in all of the planning of this conference and also the training sessions that I just mentioned. Thank you to Sue and Rob for facilitating 2 of our breakout room groups as well, and of course to our funders, the Isla Foundation, who have made all of this possible. And finally, thank you to all of you.